You guys can see me if I turn on my webcam. Just want to say hi. I'm Carly, Carly Vanderwert. I work at Twilio and was a part of the acquisition. I am a developer educator, so I write all the docs. And I have been Hacktoberfesting for going on about 3 years now. I have my shirt on from last year, so I'm obviously a big fan of DigitalOcean and Hacktoberfest and all of the awesome things that it can do in terms of people and just, building a stronger community. We'll go back to my slides here. Maybe. Please hold. There we go. All right. Please save any of your questions till the end. I just put them in the chat. You can do it beforehand, but I'll just ignore them until the end. So let's go ahead and get started. Awesome. So I am very excited that it's almost October. I am basically this gift person. I am a dancing pumpkin person because I love Halloween and fall and Hacktoberfest. So today we're going to go through some of these things, getting ready in terms of your repos ready to prepare you for the most successful Hacktoberfest that you can possibly have. What to do if you get more PRs than you were expecting, and what you can also do if you want more PRs and to get those contributors to notice your project and participate. So just a disclaimer here, I used a lot of GIFs and memes, so I hope you're okay with that. And I'm coming to this from a documentation perspective. So this might be different than what some of your experience has been in the past, but hopefully most of it applies across engineering projects and documents. So my first tip here is make sure your repo is approachable by having your README up to date. This lets your contributors know what you're looking for and how they can interact with your project, what kinds of things you're looking for. Basically, it sets them up to get their code merged in as quickly as possible. If you have a style guide like we do site, make sure that is also readily available within your repo. You'll spend less time fixing style stuff and more time working on testifying steps and merging in the PRs. The other thing we did after 1 year of struggling through Hacktoberfest was we made so as you can see here, just a description of the change, why they made the change, a link to the original source for us, that would be a docs page. And then if an issue in the repo, just put the number there so that they can get credit for it. I'm sure many of you are aware of GitHub's labeling feature that allows you to give more context to both issues and pull requests. Some of the issues that we used just to sort of draw people in because they can search for Hacktoberfest, and that lets them know that you're participating and that your repo is available for contributions and that you're welcoming it. We also implemented first timers, up for grabs, things like that to let people know, like, please go for this. We're encouraging you to tackle this issue. We'd love your help. And then we also did kind of t-shirt sizes for some of the other issues, easy, medium, and hard, just to give your contributors an idea of how much time you're spending on each of these issues. And it's not a perfect system, but oftentimes people would just comment on the issues in the repo and say, hey, can I work on this? Or I got this, I'd love to work on this. And we would, just reply back and say, go for it. We'd love to see what you come up with. Just kind of having that interaction with them is very encouraging. For our own sanity, we also implemented a Hacktoberfest approved review for Hacktoberfest tag, which allowed us to kind of give PRs a cursory glance and know, first of all, whether it was valid or if it was spam. And then second of all, it just kind of indicated to us that we were probably going to merge it in. It either just needed a little bit of tweaking or some testing just to make sure that it was accurate. And then there is the dreaded invalid tag, which we had to use for some of our PRs. People love swag. They want the DigitalOcean shirts because they're awesome. And we were in a really awesome situation where we were giving away shirts last year. So people wanted their swag and they would just put like smiley faces at the end of a sentence or just kind of random things that didn't really make sense in the docs. So we would have to unfortunately mark them invalid, but like a little encouraging note below it, like, this isn't exactly what we were looking for. Like, please look for a first timers or an up for grabs in our issues, just to kind of encourage them to please come back and try. The other thing we did, which has been super handy, is implementing some of GitHub's webhooks. So we wanted to say thank you to everybody that contributed to our repo. So guess what? There's a webhook for that. We also, being a public company, needed contributors to sign a CLA before we could merge in their changes, just so that they understand that we own everything that's in that repo, even if it's their, their intellectual property. It's ours once it's up there, kind of a thing. And I am not a developer by any means, but they're very simple to set up. The GitHub has excellent documentation, which I very much appreciate. Documentation nerd. Oh, one of the other things I forgot to talk about with labels, if we go back here, is go ahead, if you don't have a lot of issues in your repo and you've got a stacked backlog, go ahead and add a few issues every day and tag them Hacktoberfest. We cleared out a huge chunk of our backlog that way. It was really satisfying. Also, just kind of a question, if you are in an event and you would like to have a bunch of issues available for people that are joining you IRL for a Hacktoberfest party, wait until the last minute to put those issues up, because they might all be gone by the time your contributors show up to your meetup. We had that problem last year, and it was a very fortunate but frustrating problem at the same time. Cool. So this is just an example of one of the responses from the webhooks that we implemented. We give everybody some swag for their first contribution to either the libraries or documentation. So we have this webhook fire so that we can say thanks and encourage them to fill out a form so we can send them some swag. So what happens if you get wations than you were planning on and you don't have time for this, and oh my God, you have a day job, what are you gonna do? So I understand that this Hacktoberfest project might be your day job, it might be your side gig, it might be another hustle that you're working on. But if it is, make sure before you start tagging things, etc., that you get support and approval from your manager. And then also ask your team to help you work on reviewing PRs and work it into your sprints. We counted reviewing PRs as part of our velocity, which was very helpful. Otherwise, I don't think I would have made it through the month of October. So having that support and setting aside time is good. Ask for help, even if this is a side project and your coworkers aren't invested in it. I'm assuming that you've got someone in your life, a coworker, a friend, a sibling, etc., that you can bribe for help with pizza, cookies, etc., to help you review pull requests and make your project better. Also, I'm a slide behind here. Take it easy on yourself. So if you can have everything merged in by November 1st, that is awesome. If not, all of the valid PRs, the ones that you do not mark as invalid or spam, still count for DigitalOcean swag. So the contributors that you haven't gotten around to reviewing their PRs yet, they rewarded accordingly for their efforts, which is awesome. So what happens if you don't get enough? This, I'm sure, you know, SendGrid is a big company and it's very common knowledge that we have a lot of open source stuff. So we are very fortunate with all the contributions that we have gotten. Some of my tips for ways that you can encourage contributions from your communities are write blogs and then tweet about it. End your project and tweet early and tweet often. And make sure that you mention the awesome DigitalOcean swag. If you're not in a fortunate position where you or your company can give away things to people that are contributing to your project, talk up the generosity of DigitalOcean. These shirts are awesome. I'm very excited for the one this year. Just looking at their logos on the website, I can already tell it's going to be really sweet. So I'm super excited. And we all know the power that t-shirts and stickers wield in the tech community. So that is a gift that keeps on giving. And I absolutely recommend holding a meetup. Getting a community of people together that are either learning about or already huge advocates of open source is incredibly fun and rewarding. And you know, teaching someone, at least for me, like teaching someone from our legal department how to do a pull request and watching project managers duke it out to see who can get to the DigitalOcean t-shirt first by making contributions to the docs just leaves me gleeful, and I'm super excited to host, I don't have a date yet, but to host another meetup here in Denver to get contributors into the office in real life and meet them and feed them, et cetera, et cetera. So why did we do Hacktoberfest? Until I came to SendGrid, I had never heard of it. I'd never worked in open source. As you can see here, last year we got 3.2 years worth of based on the velocity for one person. And for our docs repo, we got 11 months worth of work for two people. So let's multiply by 2 is 22 months worth of work, phenomenal investment for my time, my coworkers' time, and the, you know, just for the meetup and everything like that, it was definitely worth it. Also, just personal point of pride, the SendGrid docs repo made the DigitalOcean Hacktoberfest leaderboard, which was a huge deal for us, and it was super fun to kind of recap at the end of the month and tell everybody, like, we got so much help and we're super grateful, and it makes it easier to have a really lean team. So if you've got a small team, getting your external contributors to jump in and help out is just super rewarding, and it means you can multiply your power exponentially, and it's super awesome. Cool. So that's all I have today. I will check on your questions now. If you have any questions that you remember later, we'll be sending out these slides, so go ahead and you can email me at the email address on the screen, or if you're interested in seeing where I spend most of my time, you can go to the SendGrid docs repo. Let's see, questions. Oh, these are problems for, looks like there's some webinar problems. I apologize. Here. I have several issues that involve making changes to the wiki on a GitHub repo. Any suggestions for handling that? If it involves giving people special permissions or things like that, you might need to skip it or ask them maybe to, that's a really good question. Maybe just have them, that might be one that I have to like think about and email you an answer to, because I'm not really sure about the answer to that question. because I know you want to give the contributor the credit, but if you can't get them access to a wiki, that might be tough. We have had people make changes to our README and still get credit for that. I don't know if this is like the same kind of thing or not. Cool. Do we have any? Oh,
Hey,
I see. Wiki. Never really run into that issue before. Yeah, I don't know the best workaround for that. But if you want to send me an email, I can think about it and look into it, and hopefully we can come up with an answer together. Because if that's something that you really need beefed up and help with, then we should figure out how to get you some outside help with that.
Hey Carly, this is Samantha from DigitalOcean. We got a question earlier during our events organizer webinar about how they could get more maintainers involved with meetups. So what tips do you have for maintainers who are on this call who may not be ready to host their own meetup, but would like to get involved in their local meetups?
Oh gosh. So kind of what I've been doing, just because the group that we bring in is kind of small. It's a Denver Boulder chapter of Write the Docs, and it's not a huge group of people, and they can't always make it to downtown Denver for meetups. So I've been reaching out to other people in the organization that are either part of other meetup groups or are running their own meetup groups to kind of make for a larger audience. Otherwise, I would just go onto the DigitalOcean website and find other meetups to crash. Or even just go to the meetup site and just search for Hacktoberfest, because there's bound to be something in your area, hopefully, that is available for you to be a part of and contribute. People not behind a computer screen, but across the table. So.
Yeah, and I would highly recommend reaching out to the event organizers themselves, because they are really looking forward to hearing from all you maintainers to help their events be even more helpful.
Absolutely, yeah. The more people we hear from, the better. I get really excited when other people geek out about open source with me. Just meeting people somewhere that's not a GitHub repo is kind of fun, I guess I'll say. Awesome. Do you guys have any other questions? Cool. Doesn't look like it, but like I said, if you guys have any questions that you think of, please don't hesitate to email me. I'd love to help, even if it's just coming up with meetups that you can organize. Anything. Really just love this event, and I can't believe I hadn't contributed until I started working at SendGrid. So I'm pumped for Hacktoberfest. Woohoo! Awesome. Samantha, do you have anything else?
Nothing from my end. Thank you so much for hosting, Carly, and thank you to all you open source maintainers who are joining Hacktoberfest this year. We look forward to hearing from you.
Of course. Yeah, my pleasure. I'm going to see what you guys come up with this year. It's super fun for me, and I can't wait to find some of my own projects outside of SendGrid and Twilio to contribute to. So happy hacking, guys.
Happy hacking, everyone. Thanks for joining. If you have any additional questions, feel free to email us at hacktoberfestevents@digitalocean.com.